Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in for another episode. Today, oh my goodness, I am so excited for this one. I talked about it in the last two episodes when I was kind of updating you guys on what we would be talking about. And we were talking about hexing, banishing, and warding, what they are, and all that good stuff. Before we begin, I do want to let you guys know that all of the links that I used for research, all that good stuff, will be down below in case you guys want to go check them out. But we are going to start with hexing first. I know that everyone has their own opinion on hexing. I will say this real quick that my own opinion is that it should be a last resort kind of thing, and don't do it unless you are well versed in how to do it. But do I think it's completely evil? No. Sometimes I think that sometimes it's the only option that you might have. But that is simply my opinion. I'm not trying to start any arguments in the comments. If you would like to leave your comment down below, like your opinion, go ahead and do that. Just, we're not going to be fighting down there. But yeah, let's go ahead and start. So hexing. So this is actually the definition that I found because some people might not know what it is. So basically, I don't really like the definition. The first, definition they have for it, which is an evil spell, a curse. Because it doesn't necessarily have to be evil, you know? Because sometimes people, they kind of deserve it. But I get, what the definition is trying to say. Words, okay. But the next one is one that brings bad luck, to bring or wish bad luck to. So yeah, honestly, that's kind of the definition of it. If you were to look up hexing. But yeah, now we're actually gonna get into where it came from and why a person would hex. And a lot of my information I got from Starhawk. She is amazing. And this other Starhawk, not from Starhawk, but they love Starhawk too, so it kind of came from the same area. And then also quite a few other websites. But anyways, it was brought to the United States by Pennsylvania Germans around the 1800s. And the term hex, with an E after the X, or just HEX, originating from German hexen, can be a noun that means witch, or more generally a verb meaning to practice witchcraft. Other words used for hex may include charm, to control / achieve by the use of magic, bewitch, to cast a spell over someone, enchant, to put someone or something under a spell, jinx, a person or object who is used to bring bad luck, or whammy, to use evil or unlucky influences to affect others in a negative way. By most standard definition, hex or hexing implies causing an unpleasant, unlucky, or harmful things to happen to people or their stuff through supernatural means by the use of witchcraft. That's a pretty narrow-minded view of hex. That's obviously given by people that really don't know what hexing is, or they're not very well versed in it, I guess is what I could say. So yeah, it's not the best definition, but y'all get what I'm saying. But we're going to talk about now why and when would a person hex, not text. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, guys. So kind of why, an example would be political. And I'm not going to sit here and spout my political beliefs. But what I'm going to get into kind of, explains it. So political reasons. A prime example is the bind Trump spells that have been going around since 2016. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember that, and I think a lot of it still happens. So taking this next little excerpt from this article that I read, they say, a magical working I have participated in myself, as I believe the man is unfit for the role he occupies. If this raises questions for you, I suggest Starhawk's views on hexing from her perspective as an activist. While I don't follow the law of three, as I'm not Wiccan, Starhawk is an elder in the pagan community with much wisdom to share. Magical resistance, where there is an acute need for social change or reform, for dealing with patriarchal disparities, fascism, white supremacy, racism, etc., related to political justice. When the judicial system fails to protect the innocent or punish the guilty, and no other recourse is left for the victim or their family. The justice was the second point too, by the way. Personal grievances number 3. A scenario where most people think of when it comes to hexing or any kind of baneful magic. Retribution or manipulation in regard to unfaithful lovers, annoying or combative neighbors, those who mean to cause harm to oneself, that kind of stuff. So those are just kind of why and when. I know that there's been a lot of pictures going around. I think they're from the Salem chapter, I'm not sure, of the witches saying like, good night, alt-right, and Hex white supremacy. You know the picture that I'm talking about, that kind of going around. That's kind of like a political reason to hex someone, in a way. So, how might a witch or magical practitioner hex? So it has come down to the knowledge of spellcraft. So I don't think that hexing is not for the faint of heart. It's not for a beginner, definitely not. But there are a variety of ways that you can set up a hexing spell. But I know that a lot of people, when they go to curse someone, or hex someone, it's to curse them. So, again, I want to say I feel like you should have a really good reason to do that. Because I also am not Wiccan. But I do believe in the law of three, where things come back to you threefold. It comes back to you. I absolutely believe that. So, when you curse or hex someone, to be clear, you do intend to cause some kind of harm, whether that be physical, financial, mental, or emotional. So again, you need to have a really good reason, and I would think that the person, they should be an awful person. And when you work with hexing, it should be taken with the most seriousness. I mean, all of spellcraft should be, but definitely hexing. That's some serious spell work. Hexing is not a joke. There will be consequences. A spell of that nature will affect the target's life as well as those within their sphere of influence. So it's gonna influence more than just them. So keep that in mind. If you're really out there just to get someone, don't be petty. Don't just because someone looks at you wrong, oh, I'm gonna hex them. Don't do that. In my personal opinion, the witch or the magical practitioner must always be prepared to accept responsibility for the magic that they wield, all of it, every single bit of it. You can experience some personal backlash. So, some witches and Wiccans believe in the law of three or the law of return, which is basically it's a reap what you sow kind of concept. The energy you send out returns with 3 times the intensity. So basically, you just, whether or not you believe in that, you need to take responsibility for the kind of magic that you do. Which I agree with. And even though I'm not Wiccan, I do believe in that concept. I do believe that you do reap what you sow. So I always try to put like good vibes out into the universe. And I've never hexed. And I don't think I honestly ever will. And another reason you should really contemplate whether or not you should do it is it takes a lot of hate, rage, and anger to do hexing and cursing works. It takes a lot of energy out of you. If you want the spell to be effective, it does take a lot out of you. Otherwise, there's really not a point to it. And if you're not willing to feel all that rage, you might as well just forgive and forget. And a way that you can do hexing is to use a tag lock, something that identifies or signifies the target of the hex, which is like a lock of hair, a picture, their name, their full name printed out on a piece of paper. That is basically to prevent innocent people from getting caught in the crossfire, making sure it's the right person. But again, there's still a sphere of influence, so there still may be consequences to other people. And then you have to create a focused intention, gather the materials, and the rest is just spellcraft. And you can do how you do the hex, like a poppet, jar, bag, or candle. That is completely up to you. But now we're moving on to should a witch or a magical practitioner hex. I mean, magic is what it is. It's called a practice for a reason. We learn as we go. How a person aligns their worldview is based on choices, experiences, and being open to learning as they travel their path. Ethics and spellcraft is on each individual to determine. Having said that, there is something to be said for the collective wisdom of other practitioners and respecting what others have to say when we may disagree with their conclusions. So, take from that what you will. And that's what I have for you guys on hexing. I know it was probably a bit choppy. It's just something that I know it's very personal for some people, because I know there are some people that are very pro hexing, and when I see a lot of these people that are pro hexing and they're like hex for any reason, which I don't agree with, and there are some people that are very don't hex at all, which I can understand and I align more with, but I also believe that there are some reasons why you would hex. But that is simply my opinion. My opinion. Okay, now we're going to get on to banishing, something quite a bit less controversial, I believe. So banishing spells are spells designed to send something or someone away or to prevent their return. To banish something means to send it away or drive it away from a location. So in the mundane world, banishment implies that whoever is banished can never return or is no longer welcome. But magical banishment is a bit different. So a banishing ritual is often performed at the beginning of the ceremony in order to rid the ritual area of negative or unwanted energy or entities that may interfere with magic or unbalanced energies that will be raised or summoned during the ceremony. Most magical paths prescribe a banishing ritual of this type, prior to any spell work or magic of any sort. So I have done banishing spells before. It's actually some of my favorites to do. I have done it this past full moon. Not when you're watching this. It's by the time you're seeing this, it's been quite a while since I've done this spell. But I did it with the full moon. I wrote down on a piece of paper what I wanted to get rid of, what I wanted to send off, as like a petition, which I believe we talk about that in the next episode, what petitions are. And I burned it along with a spell and a candle. It was great. Loved it. It was amazing. And I actually felt a lot better after that. So I have done a banishing spell before. But a banishing may also be performed at the end of a ritual to banish any entities that were evoked or invoked during the procedure, or to clear the energy that has been raised from the ritual area to allow it to return to the mundane use. For example, you would banish the energy from the love spell that you performed in your living room so that it can return to normal living room use and not affect everyone who comes in there innocently trying to watch the evening news. A banishing may be performed on the ritual space or on the magic users, or both. However, when you perform a banishing ritual on an area, you do internalize it somewhat automatically. The lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram is a basic banishing ritual that is a primary requirement of initiates into the Golden Dawn. It is used to prepare a ritual area and also to prepare the magic user by focusing their mind and energy on the task at hand, creating a magical atmosphere and an altered state of consciousness. So one may banish summon energies and entities as well once their presence is no longer required. the word releasing is most often used. The watchtowers that are evoked at the four corners of the circle in many rituals are, in fact, banished at the ritual's end. So banishing spells are designed to drive away anything the magic user feels is a threat or a nuisance. A person, an obstacle, debt, disease, any addiction, a bad habit, stuff like that. A banishing may be performed on a home to drive away unwanted energies, discord, stress, stuff like that. Also, undesirable entities such as ghosts or other troublesome spirits. A banishing spell may be performed on a person to banish an addiction, an affliction, or an influence another person has over them. Banishing spells are also performed on objects to rid them of connections to prior owners of any energies picking up during their use, often in preparation for programming or charging them for a new purpose. The term cleansing refers to a banishing done to remove unwanted energies from a person, location, or object. The term exorcism is used to describe a banishing for an unwanted entity, especially an uncooperative, unfriendly one. So, while banishing spells can be performed at any time, they are most effective if performed during the waning moon. While the moon is in the sign of Capricorn or Scorpio, Saturday is a good day for general banishing spells. The best time is at the dark of the moon, but before the new moon appears. Some say that your movement should be widdershins when performing a banishing spell, but some believe it's bad luck to move in any direction other than sunwise while performing a spell. I really don't have a comment on that. I really make sure that I do mine with the moon, so. But for many banishing spells, an object is chosen to represent the person, idea, thing, or energy to be banished. The item is then charged or programmed to represent the target using various means and then symbolically sent away. Running water, such as a river, a sewer drain, or even a flushing toilet, is often utilized in this way. It's important that the item be of safely biodegradable nature so that your spell work does not bring harm to the environment or clog up the pipes. Banishing of energy or entities may take the form of a more complicated ritual involving fumigating or asperging an area, person, or object. If you are banishing energy from your home, a ritual bath may be in order. I've actually done ritual baths before and I love them. I highly suggest them. But now we're going to move on to warding. And this is going to be the last bit of this episode. So warding, what is it? It is used to create an energetic safe space, prevents intrusive or unwanted energies from entering your space, thereby lessening the amount of offensive magic that you may need to perform. So it's kind of like a guard, a wall between you and the bad stuff, and it allows only benign files and feelings and blocks anything bad. So warding, it's basically like a wall, and it keeps out the bad stuff is basically the best way to describe that. But casting a circle is one of the most common forms of warding. I don't think I've ever done warding before, if I'm being completely honest. I don't have that in my memory. Maybe I did. I don't know. I don't think so, though, so probably not. But casting a circle is used for protecting magical workspaces, but there are many other forms of warding. Wards are an extremely versatile form of magic. They can protect a single entity, or, given enough power, they can extend over vast amounts of space to protect large buildings or even entire towns. They can be semi-permeable, meaning they selectively allow energies through, or they can be completely impermeable, allowing nothing to enter or exit. A ward can be used to keep energies out or to keep them in. Wards are only limited by the imagination and the ability of the witch casting them. So, if you're going to be doing this, what would you need to do first? You need to cleanse. So that's very important. Wards are kind of like walls, or basically like bubbles. If you don't clean the space first, you might trap things inside your bubble. You don't want that. So there are a lot of methods of cleaning, from burning sage to spritzing oil-infused water. So you should find a method that you're comfortable with and then cleanse everything you're going to be warding. So next step. You've cleansed your home or your item, so what do you do next? Now you're going to ward. So you can do incense warding, and that can also be done with spritzes of water or essential oil blends or herb infused water if you have herbs, or if you can't have smoke in your space. But make sure the herbs are protective. So bay leaves, cinnamon, ginger, mustard seed, and salt are some great options if you can find them in a grocery store. You really don't have to go to a fancy witch shop, not stop. If you're using incense, make sure you're using natural incense and not super cheap stuff that's like artificially scented. The magic is in the herbs, and you won't get that from the fake scents. So how to incense or spritz ward an item. Smoke or spray them. Visualize the smoke or spray clinging to the item and wrapping around it like a tight blanket, protecting it from anything that would cause harm or interference. How to incense or spritz ward your place. So pick a place to start. If you're doing multiple floors, start either at the top or the bottom. Move continuously to your right, smoke or spray along the walls and door frames as you go. Imagine a barrier being formed around the walls, ceiling, and floor, pushing outwards to fill the room. Visualize the smoke or spray forming the barrier to keep out anything that will do you harm. Keep moving right, following the layout of your home, making sure you get all the closet spaces. You basically want to outline the entire area you're protecting, whether it's your room or your whole house. For multiple floors, repeat on each level. For big layouts where there are rooms in the middle, go around those rooms as well. Reinforce the wards over outside doors, windows, and mirrors, but that's not what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have to. But it is an extra bit of oomph. So now, you're done when you've reached the point to where you began. So, you might have a question, which is, why do we go to the right? And is that important? So, yeah, basically, going to the right is like going clockwise. It's about making things in progression, where going to the left or counterclockwise is about deconstruction or reversal. Another question you might have is, can I place wards that keep out certain things but not others? Yes. When you're going around your space and warding your item, your intent is what's important. So, ward out entities that mean harm. It's nice in general. Some people might want certain spirits and not others. Have your intentions clear in your mind as you place your wards. Now, symbol and sigil wards is what we're going to move on to. So you can choose or make a symbol or sigil that has protective properties. Pentagrams are nice and basic if you like them. You can draw the symbol over doors and windows. You do not literally have to draw it. It can be in water, incense, smoke, or just your finger against the surface if you want, so it's not like you have to get like a paintbrush or something and paint it. As you're drawing, make sure you have your intentions in mind, that nothing harmful can pass through the door, that the windows remain closed against the bad entities, stuff like that. And then you can also do vocal wards. So, if you like vocal wards, which are spoken or thought spells, come up with a small chant to protect your space. You can repeat this chant as you focus on your item being protected, or as you walk around your home protecting every room. And it's a really great oomph to just add that to whatever else you're doing. Like if you're doing the smoke, incense smoke, you can also be chanting as you go to give it a little bit of oomph. But yeah, that was our section on wording. I can go into any of these 3 things, hexing, banishing, and warding, a bit more if you would like. You would just I can't speak. You just need to let me know which one you'd be more interested in. This was a very brief overview of them, honestly, but I can definitely do more of a deep dive into one in particular. Just let me know. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I know it's a bit choppy. Just talking about hexing makes me a bit uncomfortable because I know that there are people that have very vocal opinions about that, so makes me a bit uncomfortable to speak about. But I felt like it was something important to speak on. But next week we will be talking about spells and rituals, and I will have actual spells and rituals to talk about. So tune in for that. It will be, like always, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. and I will see you guys then. Bye, guys.